Hey guys, it's Shahram from the Dialectic At Work, a podcast dedicated to understanding Marxian theory. I'm extremely grateful for the overwhelming response that we've received on our first episode for Roses and Bread on Marxism as a theory of overcoming trauma. If you like what we're doing, I just wanted to quickly tell you guys about our future plans and what we plan to do with this program moving forward. Okay, I wanted to briefly tell you guys about my own motivations and how I became interested in this idea. It goes back to the year 2007 and 8 when I was studying mainstream economic finance. I was trying to understand speculative bubbles, which were an extremely important thing at the time. I was a graduate student in England. And I was trying to understand what the economic journalists, people who were looking at the real economy, reporting about it, telling us about the crisis in the UK, where I was a graduate student, the real estate crisis, that is, which was, as you guys know, a global phenomena. It was everywhere in the world. And I was trying to understand and make sense of that which was being reported by the mainstream press, the facts, as they say. And, well, I soon discovered that the models, the financial models that we were using were, for the lack of a better word, useless in terms of explaining what was actually going on. Well, I'll go into those reasons in future episodes for those of you who are interested. The short version of the answer that I discovered is that mainstream economics does not have an adequate theory of price, and as a result is unable to explain, as I was to discover later in my life, speculative bubbles. Anyway, so I was extremely frustrated with what I was reading in my economics department at the time, and lo and behold, I Googled the word alternative approaches to economics in the United States, because I thought that, well, the US has been historically the hub of alternative ways of thinking about the world. Dialogues, dialectical discussions, etc., or seem to be, at least to my eyes, a regular part of this social culture, etc. So I looked online, and lo and behold, I found a man called Richard Wolff, who had given this one interview to some local news channel in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I was a trained neoclassical economist, equipped with all the mathematics and economics and all the rest of it. And I soon began to discover that what was missing in my analysis, or my education rather, was the fact that I was unaware of the history of economic thought. And I soon began to discover that without understanding the discussion, the discourse, the dialogue, let's use the word, the dialectic that has been at play within any discipline, you can't really understand anything at all. Okay? So I became interested in these alternative approaches to economics, which brought me to the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, where Professor Wolff had taught for multiple decades, and I got the opportunity and the privilege and the honor of studying with Professor Steve Resnick, Professor Dipankar Basu, Professor Mwangiwa Gitenji, and a host of other Marxist professional intellectuals, thinkers, philosophers, economists who had devoted their entire lives. They were trained in neoclassical economics. It's not that they didn't know those methods or those ideas. They, as a matter of fact, as I was to discover, they knew those ideas better than the practitioners or people who claimed to be experts in that particular way of thinking about the world. Anyway, so that brought me to UMass Amherst, where I studied under the supervision of these people. And, well, that's the idea of the program. There was a dialectic, a dialogue within my own being. I was not there to accept these ideas, as hopefully we'll be able to tell you guys some interesting stories in upcoming episodes. As a matter of fact, there was a dialogue, a conflict between me and my professors, because I came from a very different epistemological way of thinking about the world. But, and it does not imply that I agree with everything they say, however, increasingly, as I began to understand Marxian theory, not as an insider, not as a believer, but as someone who was just curious and wanted to understand how the real world worked. Okay, so there was a dialectic at work, And I want to bring that dialectic to my audiences. I'm an associate professor of economics at Bucknell University now, and I teach courses in Marxian political economy and development economics. Just wanted to point out that even something as exogenous, as we like to call in economics, an outside event, an unexplainable event, anything can have an impact on shaping your own personal trajectory, as in my case. A simple YouTube search changed my entire career trajectory. So partially it's that hope that if there's this graduate student, undergraduate student, a factory worker somewhere who's struggling to understand or make sense of whatever problem they're trying to think about, if there is that individual with whom we can have a discussion, a dialogue, a dialectic at play, there's the possibility that they might also find roses and bread and Marxism as a theory of overcoming contradictions, conflicts, crises, and trauma. I just wanted to conclude briefly with the book that had a profound impact on my own way of thinking. This is Knowledge and Class, a book written by my professors, Stephen Resnick and Richard Wolff. And as you will see, hopefully, for those of you who are aware of the Marxian way of thinking about the world, and for those of you for whom this is a completely alien idea and a new concept, you will soon discover that the Marxian theory that we're about to develop and present is by no means the Marxian theory that you know about or have heard about or others believe in. We do not claim, as you will see, that there is one singular Marxian theory, but rather, and this is going to emanate directly from the way we're going to present our work, the dialectic is going to be at work, so that whatever conclusions we present, whatever ways of thinking we present, are always going to be, you ready, in a state of dialectical change and transformation as and when necessary. So this book is something that I would recommend if you want to understand and follow along our conversations and truly understand and develop an appreciation of what we're about to achieve. Okay, guys, yet, despite what I have said, as this gentleman, Hegel, pointed out to us, the real issue is not exhausted by stating it as an aim, but by carrying it out. So for now, let's do the following. The word dialectic is literally derived from the word dia, which means to split into two, and lectic, which means to logic, reason, etc., etc. So dialectic literally means to reason by splitting the logic into two. So let's do it now. Let's split the logic into two, and let me know in the comments below what you think about this idea, this program, and what you think we should be doing moving forward. Here's Shahram Azhar signing off from the Dialectic at Work. I'll see you in another episode. Take care, guys.